everything in your life begins and ends with one thing: a decision. Decisions are the hinges upon which the doors of destiny swing. Where you are right now, in your career, your health, your relationships, your walk with God, is the cumulative result of every decision you have made up until this point. And where you will be next year, next month, even next week, will be determined by the choices you make starting right now. When God created mankind, he placed within us the most powerful force on earth. Not muscles, not intellect, not money, but willpower. The ability to decide, to choose. And that means you are not a prisoner of your circumstance. You are not at the mercy of your past. You are not stuck in a cycle unless you decide to stay there. When I was a young boy growing up in the Bahamas, our house was so humble it could barely keep out the rainstorms. I would sit on the edge of my bed, look through the broken roof, and dream about a life beyond what my eyes could see. It was in that place, soaked by rain, surrounded by poverty, that I made a decision. A decision that my present would not imprison my future. A decision that my conditions would not define my conclusion. I did not know how. I did not have the resources. I did not even have a full understanding of the journey ahead. But what I had was a decision. And that decision was enough to set heaven in motion on my behalf. There is something extraordinary about the human spirit when it makes a decision. When you decide to change, when you decide to rise, when you decide to break free, all of creation seems to lean in and make room for your emergence. You don't have to know all the steps, you just have to take the first one. Decisions are seeds, and every seed carries within it the blueprint of a forest. When you decide, you plant the seed of a different future. You may not see the fruit immediately. No seed bears fruit the same day it is planted. But the moment you choose, heaven recognizes it. Your spirit recognizes it. The earth begins to respond to it. You may feel like you're standing at the bottom of a mountain right now, and the summit is hidden by clouds. You may be surrounded by voices telling you it's impossible. You may even be battling doubts inside your own mind. But I came to tell you tonight, the mountain will not move until you decide to climb. The breakthrough will not come until you decide to pursue it. There's a powerful prophetic force released into the atmosphere the moment you say enough excuses, enough fear, enough delays. Every champion you admire, every leader you respect, every world changer who made history, their journey began not with applause, not with a platform, but with a decision. A private, personal, passionate decision to no longer accept life as it was. A decision to become everything they were created to be. And so, tonight, I put the challenge before you. What decision are you going to make? Not what wish, not what hope, but what decision. Because decisions demand action. Decisions demand discipline. Decisions demand discipline. Decisions demand that you put your hand to the plow and refuse to look back. Hey friends, you are one decision away from the life you have been praying for. One decision away from changing not only your life, but the lives of those who will be impacted by your courage. Don't wait for the perfect moment. There is no such thing. The power is in your hands. The kingdom is waiting. Decide and watch your life transform. Decision without action is deception. It is not enough to decide you want a new life. You must act like it. The world is full of people who have good intentions, but very few who are willing to back those intentions with real movement. Intentions sound good, but actions speak louder. When you make a decision to change your life, heaven takes note. But when you act on that decision, heaven gets involved. There is a difference between saying, I want to be healthy, and getting up at 5 a.m. to go for a run. There is a difference between saying, I want to start a business, and actually registering the company, building the brand, making the phone calls. There is a difference between saying, I want to know my purpose, and getting up earlier to pray, to study, to listen for the voice of God. Movement creates momentum. One step, one action, one bold move initiates a domino effect in the realm of your destiny. Nothing changes until you move. The first law of faith is that you must step out even when you don't see the full staircase. Oh, you would say. I remember when I first traveled outside the Bahamas, I had a vision burning in my heart, but no money in my pocket. The opportunity came for me to go and speak. And every logical voice around me said, you can afford it. You should wait. You should be practical. But something inside me said, if you sit still, you will kill the seed of destiny inside you. So I acted. I borrowed a suit that was too big for me. I scraped together enough money for a one-way ticket, and I went. That one act of faith led to a network of relationships, opportunities, and platforms that would have never opened if I had sat waiting for perfect conditions. You will never be ready enough. You will never feel prepared enough. You will never have all the money, all the time, or all the connections you think you need. The Red Sea did not part when the Israelites stood still and prayed. It parted when they moved forward in obedience with Pharaoh's army breathing down their necks. Miracles do not meet you while you are sitting in fear. They meet you in the place of motion. God can steer a moving ship, but a stationary one will rot at the dock. Comfort requires sacrifice. It requires courage that demands that you leave your comfort zone behind, because comfort is the enemy of destiny. The future belongs to those who are willing to act on what they believe, not just dream about it. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have a flawless plan, but you do have to move. If you want to change your life in 1 week, you must commit to intentional, uncomfortable, undeniable action every single day. No matter how small it seems, no matter how awkward it feels, no matter how afraid you are. When David ran toward Goliath, it wasn't because he wasn't scared. It was because he understood that fear does not disqualify you. Standing still does. This week, let your feet move faster than your fear. Let your hands work harder than your doubt. Let your voice speak louder than your excuses. Because when you move, doors will open. When you act, provision will meet you. When you step out, destiny will recognize you. The law of intentional action is not a theory, it is a reality. Those who move will possess the promise. Those who hesitate will watch from the sidelines. You were never created to sit in the stands. You were created to run the race, to fight the good fight, to seize the crown that already has your name on it. So act like it, move like it. The future is waiting for no one. It rewards the bold. If you want to change your life, you must first change your mind. Transformation is not first external, it is internal. It is invisible before it becomes visible. Everything you experience in your life flows out of the way you think. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. Your mind is the soil and your life is the harvest. The Word of God says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Not as he wishes, not as he dreams, not as he prays, but as he thinks, because thinking shapes believing, believing shapes behavior, and behavior shapes destiny. You cannot walk in victory while thinking like a victim. You cannot live in abundance while nurturing a mindset of scarcity. You cannot fulfill your purpose if your mind is chained by fear, by doubt, by the opinions of people who never believed in you to begin with. When I was a young man, I realized that the greatest battlefield was not outside of me. It was not in my neighborhood, not in my government, not even in the economy. The real war was taking place between my two ears. The fight was for my mind, for my belief about who I was, about what I could do, about what was possible for me. And hear me well, if you lose the battle in your mind, you will lose it everywhere else. But if you win it in your mind, victory will manifest around you. I remember speaking to young people in broken communities where hopelessness hung in the air like a thick fog. They thought they had no future because their environment told them so. But I told them, your geography does not determine your destiny. Your mentality does. A man with a millionaire mind can live in a shack and still find a way to build an empire. A man with a poverty mind can live in a palace and lose it all within a year. You do not rise to the level of your dreams. You rise to the level of your thinking. That's why transformation must begin with a new mind. You must challenge every limiting belief you have ever been taught. You must uproot every lie that says you are not enough, that you cannot succeed, that greatness is for somebody else but not for you. You must tear down the mental strongholds that have kept you locked in cycles of mediocrity and frustration. When you change your mind, your language changes. You stop saying, I can't, and you start saying, I will. You stop saying it's impossible, and you start saying, all things are possible. You stop looking at obstacles and start seeing opportunities. When you change your mind, your choices change. You stop wasting time on things that do not build you. You stop entertaining people who drain your energy and distract you from your assignment. You start investing in books, in environments, in mentors, in disciplines that sharpen your purpose and fuel your fire. When you change your mind, your habits change. You stop living by emotions and start living by decisions. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. You become consistent, disciplined, focused. And over time you become unstoppable. The transformation of your mind is not a one-time event. It is a daily battle. Every day you must choose what thoughts you will allow to live in your mind and what thoughts you will evict. You must be the gatekeeper of your own mind, refusing to let fear, doubt, and negativity take up residence in the space where dreams are supposed to grow. And let me tell you something, you have the power to do it. God has already placed within you the ability to be renewed, to be restored, to be completely transformed from the inside out. You don't need to wait for someone to rescue you. You don't need permission from anyone to think differently. You don't need the approval of those who don't even believe in themselves. This week, the most important work you will do is not outside of you, it is inside your mind. Pull down the old thinking. Plant the new thinking. Speak life over yourself. See yourself powerful, chosen, unstoppable. Because when you finally change the way you think, you will unlock a future bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than you ever imagined. It all begins in the mind, and the mind begins changing today.